Mhm.
Hi and welcome back. We are once again on Talk Right today, and today we're going to talk about interviews, interviewing skills. How do really, as a candidate, you appear for interviews? What you need to prep yourself? How do you really take care of, the 30 odd plus minutes of that interview, and key characteristics you can expect that we need to discuss and share. And again, I have Mayur once again. So over to you, Mayur.
Thank you and welcome, Santosh, and welcome all our viewers to Talk Right today. And to begin with, let me please remind and refresh all our viewers. Please subscribe to our channel, our YouTube channel. Santosh will share some details later on, and also the email address. The reason I say share and subscribe as well is because this is an initiative which focuses on self-excellence, self-development, and I think it's all positive. If you can pick up some good points that can help you to grow, you can share it with others and help them to grow. I think it's a very positive initiative that I feel, and there's nothing to lose, everything to gain. Coming to the subject of interviews, see, it's like this: when we send a CV, a curriculum vitae, or a biodata, or a resume, whatever you may call it, it is that which gets you an opportunity to sit in front of a person or many people with the aim of being selected into a job. Interview is, for me, if you break it up, it's as simple as a view that takes him that is inside you. And when I say inside you, it's not about obviously the physicality of it. It's about a process where the person tries to, through questions and discussions, he tries to or she tries to understand who you are and tries to see whether you are the right fit for the right profile that they're looking out for. So remember that it all starts with you understanding really what an interview is. It is a selection process, but within that, it is an important way by which you get an opportunity to convince through your communication and presentation, to convince the person or people across that you are the right person or the right candidate for that particular profile,
Yeah.
which therefore means that you have to really plan, prepare, practice, and then perform. In fact, after the interview is over, whatever the result will be, you must also do what I call as a postmortem. Don't take it in a gross way. When I say postmortem, it's the post-interview analysis. So you plan, you prepare, you practice, then you perform, and finally, you think where you could have been better, or maybe there's some things that you really were good at, because
Yeah.
it will help you to refine yourself for the next interview, whenever and wherever it could be.
Yeah.
A few things that I want to share now.
Agreed. In fact, a few more practical steps I just wanted to share with you guys is need not be that now your interview is going to be face to face. So let's talk it in both, right? If you have a virtual interview, which is through a Zoom or a WebEx or whatever that is, you got to be ready
Yeah.
from a technology perspective. Are you really ready from a strong Wi-Fi? Is your laptop fine? Is your phone okay? Is it charged? Small things, but matter a lot. Make a checklist and make sure you or actually even have a trial done, because you shouldn't have the last thing you want is it doesn't work, and it's an interview. So you're anyway a bit kind of, it's always on your mind. The second thing is,
Yeah.
suppose you have an in-person interview, and if you're new to that place, I would say do a recce. I do that. Go to that place and see where exactly that interview is. You may not be able to enter that office premises, but at least see where it is. So, in your mind, you should kind of set that this is the way I'm going to do next day. So it takes care of a lot of things, because otherwise you don't get that auto rickshaw, you don't get that taxi last minute. It's a big problem. So you've got to be very careful on that. So these are things you need to plan. Another important thing, again, virtual or maybe an in-person interview, is that keep away from your other office work that you're doing that day. And when I say that, it could be switch off your phone, because the last thing you want is someone calling you from office and asking you for some, file, where have you, and for all you know, you don't know where it is because you're already tensed about it. So you should be keeping yourself pretty stable and peaceful. You shouldn't get into issues with your office, and that really impacts your interview on your it's always in your mind. So yeah, a few
Absolutely.
things that one should be really aware of.
All right. And to continue further, I want to show this to all our viewers. All right. They say that some pictures can or images can speak more effective words than just
Yeah.
the words. So this is what is typically a saw, right? And I think a lot of our viewers have already understood what I'm trying to say. Remember, friends, that when you go for an interview, it's a process where you have to put in your best foot forward. And when I say best foot forward, I'm talking about sharpening the saw. If the saw is blunt, you will not be able to make the right impact. Now, if I were to connect it to each one of us, when we go for the interview, I think I'll take from what Santosh said, is we must invest some time to get ourselves completely in the zone where we plan and focus on how we are going to conduct ourselves in the interview. Now, this could happen a day before the interview, a week before the interview. I'm not saying that you should leave everything, but invest some time to meditate, literally meditate, and visualize yourself. Santosh said you sometimes need to probably even go once and feel the geography of it, because even
Yeah.
sometimes that can make you nervous where you miss out a cab, which is very practical, very important. But in your mind, visualize about you going in, sitting in front. But here, just doing that is not enough. How strong you are with your preparation is important. Sharpening the saw is about sharpening your, not just your skills but your knowledge. You've got to be so confident, not overconfident, but so self-confident that when you speak, that assertiveness comes out.
Yeah.
And here I want to bring in that aspect that when I say sharpening the saw, it's not only your knowledge that you need to be very much in command as much as possible, and preparation should be strong, but even the skill of speaking is important.
Yeah.
Remember that when you speak in an interview, uh, the presentation of your thoughts, your perspectives, your vision, the answers, your responses, everything is through your communication. In fact, like Santosh said, it may not be always face to face. Maybe there's an opportunity waiting for you to happen in Dubai, for example, and you can't go there for an interview. But when it's a telecon happening, your verbal communication is going to be very important. So sharpening your verbal communication skills is important. And here, just remember, when you speak, I call it LCD, loud, LCP, sorry, loud, clear, and polite. So whenever you speak, whatever you speak, but when you are in that interview, in that zone, when the person is there or people are there, speak loud enough that your confidence gets communicated. Be clear in your pronunciations so that people don't get confused. And at the same time, have a tone of not being aggressive, being assertive, not being very passive, but being assertive. And that comes with politeness. So LCP will help you in sharpening your verbal communication skills.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Mhm.
In fact, a very typical question that comes for any interview is tell me about yourself. It's a given because as I
Yeah.
was saying, when you're even looking at your CVs, one really doesn't have time to get into the deep dive on a CV. So as a candidate, the first question would be, okay, tell me about yourself. So I think you must have a structured answer. Okay, I'm not saying when I say a structured answer means you actually mug it up, but there should be a flow,
Yeah.
and what you talk. So rehearse it, check it up with maybe your friends, and just check whether you're right. So this is going to be a certain
Yeah.
question. It's like your exam and it's a certain question. The second thing, and this is something which is happening off late in many organizations, right, when they're recruiting people, they're also trying to check with whether your personality, apart from your functional skill sets, your personality matches to the behavior or their the ethics or the rules of the organization. So you may get situation based questions, and very common nowadays, and they will give you a certain kind of a situation in an office, whatever is happening, and there's some, let's say, a conflict, or maybe there's a project and there's a challenge. They will really look forward to an answer, and they'll see if you're a right fit from the answer you give. So you've got to be very focused, conscious, don't bluff, be transparent, and be what you are. I think it's very, very important. More and more firms are
True.
going in for these kind of questions.
True. Also, I think certain outer aspects are important. We just spoke about how you present yourself with the way you speak, which is very important, LCP, but also how you carry yourself. Understand that appearances matter. It's not that appearances are the only thing that matter, but they do.
Yeah,
It's a amalgamation or coming together of everything. For example, as Santosh was saying, anticipate the kind of questions that could come. We do this even for exams, isn't it? We try to look at what could be the possible questions that may come. We look at past examination question papers,
Yeah.
etc. I think that preparation helps you to answer. But the dress that you wear, for example, is important.
Yeah.
I've seen some people, and I'm not joking, Santosh. I've seen some people for formal interviews, okay, for a manufacturing organization, they have gone there with sandals. Can you
Hmm.
believe that?
Crazy.
Not chappals, but sandals. See what happens. They may not realize this, but they are being observed. You
Yeah.
know, उनके लिए क्या है कि मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, मेरा इतना यहाँ तक दिख रहा है, but hey, you are in a three-dimensional, and this is honestly in the context of a face-to-face interview.
Yeah.
Telephonic interview is different. In fact, I'll tell you something. I had a person who said to me, even Mayur, for telephonic interviews, when you wear the right attire,
Yeah.
even if you're at home, when you wear the right attire, it also psychs you up. It
Exactly.
helps you to shape
Yeah.
up your way of thinking as a professional. I mean, you
Correct.
could have worn a banyan
Yeah.
for God's sake, and shorts, and done a very important interview, but it will affect your psyche. You
Yeah.
wear the right jacket and the tee and the tie and all, and you sit even at home,
It gives you a
it will
formal
psych you up in
setting.
a
Yeah.
positive way.
Agree.
It gives you a mental formal setting. So
Yeah.
your appearance, external and your internal preparation, I think they come together, and
Yeah.
that confluence will be able to create the right impact.
True. In fact, just to extend on your point, right? I remember taking an interview of a candidate on a Saturday in my office. In
Mm.
fact, being a Saturday, I went semi-formal, but the candidate was absolutely informal because when I actually asked him, this is an interview, right? So he said, "Sir, I thought it's a Saturday, so you will be okay with me wearing t-shirt and jeans." I was like, wow. There's another interesting one I came across. This is
Mm.
again, as we were talking, prepping for an interview, been reaching
Yeah,
on
yeah.
time. I had a candidate who came on a motorbike for an interview, and the last thing
Mm.
he was absolutely not ready was for not getting a parking space, and he was already like rushed out, and he was really late for the interview. He somehow got some space to park. He ran towards the elevator. He finally reached my office, and he shook hands with me, and his hands were absolutely, you know what I mean, because he was so
Yeah.
exhausted. He was sweating. He didn't even go to the washroom. And, believe me, I didn't even extend my hand. That's it, right?
Absolutely.
First impression, last impression, cracked. Simple. So these are key points, it can make a difference. And it's a very huge
Yeah.
difference. So one needs to be really careful about it. Body language, again, very
Sure.
important. You
Yep,
got to
yep,
be
yep.
firm. You got to be, I mean, it's an interview and it's a make or break of your career. So remember that. Give
I
time to
think
it.
I think I think Santosh, the body language part is something I want to elaborate a little bit more to
Yeah.
what you said. That's another fair point. We did
Yeah.
talk about the verbal
Yeah.
speaking, the loud and clear and polite, but body
Correct.
language. The way I put this is that you may wear the best suits, but if your body language is not assertive, your suit and your best, most expensive shirt probably will not still help you in creating the right impact. So, in body language, viewers, there are two things I always try and share. One, your eye contact is part of your body language because eyes are part of your body. Okay. Uh, Whenever you are speaking to or addressing a panel of interviewers or an interviewer as such, please look at the person's face. Remember that when you look at a person's face, two things happen. One is you are able to exude and express your confidence just through your eye contact. Remember, I'm not saying you should keep staring at the person. In fact, if there are two or more people, try to rotate your eye contact and look at everybody
Yeah.
because everybody is interested in your communication. But if there is one person, look at the face and sometimes look a little away from the face as if you're thinking and then speaking. Break the monotony of eye contact as well. I know
Hmm.
you may say, बाप रे ये सब करना है मुझे तो बात करनी है. Try to inculcate this slow and steadily. It will become natural to you. Okay. The other part I think is your hand movements. I believe that when you're speaking, one thing you must avoid is don't keep your elbows and forward from the elbows on the table. If there is a table, don't go so close.
Yeah.
There is this boundary which you shouldn't cross. But
Yeah.
at the same time, don't droop your shoulders down. Okay, you got to keep your hands to yourself. But whenever you need to assert, whenever you need to indicate something, whenever you need to really speak more impactfully, use your hands like this. Suppose if Santosh were to ask me, Mayur, do you think, why do you think we should take you in this organization? And maybe if I want to say the following, I'll say it this way. Sir, I say that there are three things which I feel you could get when you get me into the organization. The first is my level of conviction about what I do. The second is this, and the third is that. It's an example,
Yeah.
by the way, viewers. When you use your hands in a very sensible way, rather than just keeping it like this, the first thing, the second thing, the third thing, you'll probably look more like an ostrich. Try to,
Correct.
no, it's your hand movements that will help you even to create a better involvement from the interviewers. It
Agreed.
also shows your confidence. So
Yeah.
along with verbal communication, your eye contact should be at the person.
Yeah.
Sometimes people look down, they don't feel confident to look at the person up. No, look at the person. There is nothing wrong. Koi bolega na kya mujhe ghur raha hai? Are you
Hmm.
staring? You're not.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just looking at the person. Like I said, one is the confidence. The second is when you look at the person, you also get to know what the person is thinking, maybe through that person's facial expressions.
Yeah.
So these are three things, remember: verbal communication, body language, and in that, eye contact and hand movements. I
Yeah.
think these things, along with knowledge and other things, preparation,
True.
will be able to create a very positive impact.
Absolutely. Two small points, but key points I would like to mention, and then maybe we can wrap up on this session. One is do not criticize your current company in no way, for whatever reasons that be. So that's very important, or your role for that matter. And don't talk
Yeah.
negative about anyone, because it's a small world, everybody's well networked, and very fact that you say something negative means you may do the same thing when you join that organization. So you'll be very careful. And the second important thing I think is very important is on salary related questions that come in. Uh, don't stick to it. You know what I mean? Keep it flexible, keep room for negotiation, keep some space for another call, but at the same time, be firm. But don't, you don't,
Don't be rigid.
yeah,
Don't be
exactly.
rigid.
Don't be rigid. Don't close the door that day. Keep it open. There is always, and of course, there will be a question: what's your expectations? Whatever be that, 20%, 30%, whatever, but be realistic also. Don't close the door. I think that's very, very important.
And just in that, I want to say, viewers, there's in sales, we talk about USP, a product's unique selling point. Um, how do you make your product stand out compared to the others? Even if the others are very similar, you have to have a unique selling point about not just your product, friends. I believe that you should have that even for yourself.
Yeah.
Because though it sounds a little crude, you are selling yourself in that sense. Not really selling, you're promoting yourself, right?
Yeah.
So try to, when you're preparing for the interview, try to have a trump card. Try to have something which should surprise pleasantly the people across, the interviewers. So the question you should ask yourself is, as I am wanting to and desiring to, get into a company and I want to do well in an interview,
Yeah.
do I have my own unique selling point? Sometimes I would also call it, from the interview perspective, a unique selection point,
Yeah.
some point, some uniqueness that is there which can make you stand out. और वो
Exactly.
आपको ढूंढना है. You have to look for it, but that
Yeah.
process is important.
Yeah.
you know
In fact,
so
just to
yeah.
extend your point, this USP, right? This unique point in an interview, I'm sure there are certain key points that you have scored over in your career that you want to discuss and talk more about it, because you possibly are making a mention of it on your CV. So, get hold of an opportunity or prod the interviewer towards that situation or towards that kind of, so he or she directly asks you more about it, and that could turn in the whole interview in your favor, because you want to tell something that you possibly have achieved and has been extremely successful for you. So you must make that
I have
extra effort.
Yeah. So I have a question for you, Santosh, which the answer could be beneficial for the viewers and for me as well. Is it okay to ask questions and turn the
Yeah.
interview into a discussion wherever the need be, or should it be more of a, you ask, I answer, that's it?
Yeah.
But if there is a doubt, if there's a question, even if there's a disagreement in through the discussion, is that something which an interviewee like me, who's getting an interview,
Yeah.
should be open to?
Yeah. In fact, it's very important that you must ask questions, because,
Okay.
in fact, if you don't ask questions, it's a sign that, it can't be one-sided. And nowadays, organizations love people when they ask questions, because it tells you that you're very extrovert. So it's very, very important that you ask questions. It's really very, very important.
Okay. And the second part that I want to just elaborate before we wind up this particular session, which has been very interesting, and I found it very practical, personally speaking. See, what happens to a lot of us viewers is, even if we planned and prepared and practiced and before the performance of the interview, there is a sense of nervousness. Sometimes it's a human tendency. And one of the things that has happened to me is, what if I fail?
Hmm.
What if I am not able to impress my interviewers? My humble request to all the viewers, especially those who are looking forward, towards an interview in the future, please understand that you got to deal with this at home with yourself before you get inside that interview zone. And
Yeah.
and one thing I say is that, remember that failing is something that everybody's been through. Don't get so over nervous and scared about it.
Yeah.
In fact, the more you think about it, it'll make you more nervous. So try to ignore that aspect of what if I fail, because
Yeah.
wo to chalta hi rahega yaar. Even in the best times, that thought may come and puncture our confidence. So be self-confident based on your planning and preparation. देखो भाई, अगर plan properly नहीं किया है, prepare नहीं किया है, practice nahi kiya. What is practice? Is visualizing that. Like Santosh said, even practicing the art of going there and then seeing, in your mind, or actually going and literally seeing the office. It's a way of practicing and getting yourself confident.
Yeah.
अगर हम लोग planning, preparation, practice नहीं करेंगे, then that feeling of nervousness will creep very, very badly. Planning, preparation, practice करने के बावजूद, despite that भी nervousness आता है, that time please I request, oxygenate yourself.
Absolutely.
Deep breathing karo. It helps you to calm your mind, compose yourself. It also gives you time for you to talk to yourself and motivate yourself. देखो, ये
Absolutely.
motivation बहुत cliched word होता है ना, motivate, but it is important. Self motivation is very important. If you go already inside the interview with that demotivated feeling or that fear, it will affect your passion with which you need to speak. So
Completely.
friends, ये सब जो हमने कहा ना, eye contact, body language, knowledge, preparation, all this is great. Along with it, ये इंटरव्यू के एक दिन पहले से करो. If you are not doing every day, at least some time before
Yeah.
तो करो. It will help you to
Absolutely.
calm your nerves and you will be able to present. And और एक बात, अगर इंटरव्यू के टाइम में भी कुछ गड़बड़ होता है, don't let your mistake, what you may have realized कि इंटरव्यू चल रहा है, मैंने कुछ गलत बोल दिया, don't let it affect you for your next question.
Yeah.
Leave it. It's okay. Leave it. Focus on the next question and give your best shot. Remember,
Absolutely.
boxer को मार मिलती है, बॉक्सर को मार मिलती है, वो कभी गिर भी जाता है. अगर वो ये सोचे कि यार आई हैव फॉलन, अभी क्या करूं, ही विल गेट अगेन बीटन अप. ही हैज टू लेट इट गो, स्टैंड अप अगेन and again come back. And these boxers have won the match as well. There's a
Yeah.
boxer who almost lost. He managed to get up on the 10th count or the 9th count. Matlab, he was almost, and then he beat the other boxer. You know why? Probably because that other boxer was shocked to see, "Arey, khada ho gaya." So we need to stand up, even if in the interview you may find that, "Arey baap re, kuch gadbad ho gaya." Don't show it.
Yeah.
Deal with it later on in your post-mortem,
Yeah.
and then go and do your best. That's all I want to say from my side.
Absolutely. So, all the very best to all those candidates who are going to appear for interviews. Please, I'm sure it'll all be fantastic and go in your favor, so long as you stay positive, frame of mind.
Yeah.
On that note,
And keep sharpening the
yes,
saw.
yes. On that note, it's time to wind up this edition and special edition that we had on interviews techniques. Stay tuned, of course, for more sessions on soft skills, and do write in, of course, and of course, subscribe. Our email ID, of course, is talkrighttoday@gmail.com.
And subscribe to our videos as well, our
Yes.
YouTube channel.
Thank you
See
for
you.
joining in. Bye-bye.